Welcome to ECED 505 Introduction to Early Childhood Special Education. This is going to be a video that's going to walk you through the syllabus of this course and give you some of the specifics about what to expect. There will be other videos that will walk you through Blackboard that will be more specific and will give you all of the ins and outs of where all the information is, where to submit your assignments, and more specifics on the assignments. So this is just an overview of the syllabus. This is a fully online course. You need to read all of this information that talks about what it's like to take a class online and what are your responsibilities as a student. A couple of things that are key. You need to log in to your Mason email account and to Blackboard at least 4 times a week. Because this is an even more compressed schedule, you really should be on Blackboard every day, and you should be checking your George Mason email every day. Now that you are a student at Mason, you must communicate with anybody at Mason, all of your instructors, professors, advisor, everybody through your Mason email. Do not use your work email. It is important, and it's policy, George Mason policy, that you use your Mason email. When I post announcements to Blackboard, I send them through your Mason email, so you really do need to be checking that. I suggest that all students add your Mason email to your phone, to your smartphone. Just as you can check your work email and your personal email, you can also add your Mason email account to your phone. So every time you log on or look at your email on your phone, you can see whether or not there's a message from Mason or from me or from your instructor. So go ahead and take some time to read all of these expectations for an online course. This is an introduction to early childhood special education. We're talking about breadth rather than depth. You will go into depth for these concepts in subsequent courses. But we're going to talk about a lot of information in this course, but it's just an introduction, an overview of these different topics and concepts within early childhood special education. So you can look through the course objectives and get an idea for what's going to be covered in this course. We do address professional standards and competencies in this course, and our assessment, which is your professional practice project, will cover specific standards, and they are covered here from the Council for Exceptional Children and the National Association for the Education of Young Children. For both of these texts, I'm going to give you a word of caution now. For the APA manual, it is a required text in all of your courses because you do have to write in APA format. Do not buy this manual right now. There is a 7th edition that is expected to come out in October 2019. So I don't want you to spend the money for the 6th edition when the 7th edition is coming out. You're going to have to buy it for your next class. So there's some resources on Blackboard we'll talk about that will help get you through APA format for this first class. Don't buy this manual. Same thing with Denier. I've seen that there's going to be a new edition coming out, so I strongly suggest that you rent the 6th edition. I'm not sure if the 7th edition has come out yet. I haven't seen it, but if the 7th edition is out and it has a 2019 or a 2020 publication date, then you can go ahead and purchase it if you want. But I suggest for this textbook that you rent it and decide whether or not you want to keep it. There are some required documents that are online, and you can access them here. Now, your assignments are broken down into 3 major areas: attendance and participation, which is worth 25% of your grade, and you will get your attendance and participation points by completing the modules, and there are discussion board questions with points associated for each of the 4 modules. There's 10 points there, and then the other 15 points are for you participating in the modules. So it's 25% of your grade. For this course, VDOE has a regulation or a rule or a requirement that all students must have at least a B in every course that counts for licensure. So you can see that if you are not getting your attendance and participation points, you can't even get that B and have this course count towards licensure. You'd have to repeat it. So it's not usually an issue at all. So just make sure that you are doing all of the work that is associated with each module. This course requires a 15-hour field experience in an early childhood special education classroom. Most of you will be able to do that field experience in your own classroom if you're in an early childhood special education classroom, but not all. If you're in Loudoun County, contact me. There are some barriers in Loudoun County, and we can work through those. There are 3 documents that are required for your field experience. The first one is within the first week of registering for this class, you need to do the field experience form. I'll show you where it is on Blackboard. Make sure you fill it out. Make sure you fill out the link straight to George Mason College of Education and Human Development, where you register for your field experience. Once you've completed your 15 hours, you'll do your field experience documentation. If you did it in your own classroom or you did it in your own school, it's considered an on-the-job field experience, and there's one form to complete for that, and your AP or principal will sign your document as well. If we set up your field experience, there's a different documentation form, and your mentor teacher would sign that form. There's also a field experience observation and reflection. We'll talk about that in a minute. And you can see when they're due. Because this course is an ongoing enrollment course, you can finish it in as little as 4 weeks, but you have until the end of the semester to finish it. So all of your assignments have due dates that are at the end of a specific module. There's no specific due dates because you're going to be coming and going at different times. There is a field experience observation and reflection, and I'll tell you what goes into that paper in just a minute. The biggest portion of this course is the Professional Practice Project, also referred to as Key Assessment 8. There are 4 parts. Typically, parts 2 and 3 are done collaboratively with a group. Because of the way this course is formatted, this section is formatted, everything will be done individually. So whenever you see anything reference the PLC or that you're working with your partners or collaborating, just ignore it. You're going to be doing everything individually in this course, in this section of the course. So your field experience is a total of 20 points, 20% of your grade, and this tells you about arranging your own field experience only if you're a contracted employee, and then if you want us to set it up for you, no matter what, everybody has to register through this website. Your placement forms are here, talks about it here, they're linked on Blackboard. Your observation and reflection is listed here. You're going to write a 5 to 7 page paper, and you're going to address these points here. This is what you're going to talk about in that paper. It is cited in APA format, and there's a reference list that's included. For your professional practice project, we'll talk about that in a minute. It's at the end of your syllabus. And then here are some guidelines for your attendance and participation. Some guidelines for your for written assignments and your grading scale. Again, you can see you have to achieve at least 80 to get a B, so it will count towards licensure. And here's a breakdown. It is broken into 4 modules because you can do this in as little as 4 weeks. If you want to take 8 weeks and you have 8 weeks until the end of the semester, that's fine. But when you'll see that there are certain assignments that are due at the end of certain modules. A lot of content, a lot of material. Do it at your pace, but make sure you get it done before the end of the semester. So this is kind of just a rough view of how to break a full semester down into 4 weeks or 4 modules. And finally, here is the Professional Practice Project or Key Assessment 8. Here are some very specific instructions for Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. Now, where it tells you that you're working with members of your PLC, ignore it. We're not doing this in PLCs because of the nature of this section of the course. So you're doing everything individually. It also, we do cross-list our courses, undergraduate and graduate courses. Ignore any reference to undergraduate students. Everybody in this section of the course is a graduate student. So you need to do the requirements for graduate students. See where it says undergraduates do 1 article? Nope. You're a graduate student. You do 2 articles. So that's a little bit of the information. Here are the specifics again for each part that you have to do. And at the end, there's a rubric. So when you're following the directions for Part 1, make sure you're at the meets. Make sure that you're here for the rubric. When you're writing Part 2 and looking at the directions, Parts 2 and 3, make sure that you meet this section of the rubric, and the same for Part 4. So you need to be looking at the directions and at the rubric when you're working on your assignments. So this is a brief overview of the syllabus. It's always linked on Blackboard. Refer to it first when you have questions. Most of your questions can be found either on the syllabus or Blackboard, and that will be the next series of videos. But for right now, just know that this is your syllabus and there's a lot of information here. Refer to it when you have questions, and most of them will be answered by doing so. Thank you, and I'm excited to have all of you in this course. I will meet you online, and I'm excited to have you in our new 2020 Early Childhood Special Education cohort.